On a hot summer night in 1988, Jane Borowski was stabbed 27 times by an unknown man. She was 7 months pregnant.
My name is Jane Borowski. I survived, and I remember everything.
Jane is the lone survivor of a serial killer. I'm your host, Jennifer Amell, and this is Dark Valley. Join us in our search for America's unknown serial killer. Subscribe to Dark Valley, coming June 16th, 2023.
Let's face it, money is the one subject we all need to deal with, but no one actually wants to talk about. The good news is there's a podcast helping you learn everything about money no one taught you. Meet Everyone's Talkin' Money, hosted by me, Shauna Game. Everyone's Talkin' Money focuses on relevant, inclusive, and forward-thinking conversations around money and just helps you get in a better relationship with your money no matter what your goals are. Do yourself a favor and subscribe to Everyone's Talkin' Money podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
For nearly 5 years and 220 episodes as of today, we have brought you more top 10 lists than you can shake your dick at. Hello, my name is Dick Amell, and I am the host of the show. Welcome to episode number 220 of Tennis Podcast. Every episode, myself or one of my rotating panel of guest sidekick hosts bring a top 10 list. The other person tries to guess all items on that top 10 list with no prior knowledge in advance. And I'm joined today by the mini-me to my Dr. Evil, and that is Dr. Buster.
The mini Dick, you might say, for Dick Amell.
Mini Dick to my Dr. Dick.
Now, is it an ethical consideration naming your child Richard when you know the nickname is going to be Dick?
Yes. And there's still people in this world that go by Dick.
Even
to
though
this
it's
day.
common slang now and has been for male genitalia for at least 40 years.
Yeah, I don't know. But like, I'm just thinking if let's say I'm in my 40s or 50s and my nickname has been Dick all my life.
It's not your name, but you are a Dick. So I guess it's close enough.
Well, I did introduce myself as Dick Amell, so yeah. But anyway, yeah, I'm changing the name. But then again, you went by Buster all your life, so.
Yep, still do, folks. That's why I'm here. In the flesh.
And we're coming to you, listeners, live in your ears right now. And Dr. Buster has brought me a top 10-ish list to guess on this very special live episode.
I have, yes, Nick. Now, allegedly, you've mentioned it before, allegedly on the show that you're married.
That is alleged, yes.
Okay. What evidence do you have for the listeners at home that's true or not?
Do you want me to... You want me to email them all a copy of my marriage certificate?
Hey, that'd be a good start.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for one to get married, that relationship has to start at some point.
Ideally, but not always.
Well, that's true.
Haven't you watched 24-Hour Fiancé or whatever it's called?
Well, they still got to meet each other prior to saying I do.
Okay.
Even
You're
if
right,
that's the first time.
Not a mail order bride, but I'm fucking stomping all over your intro, so...
Okay.
Sorry.
Yes. Okay, so usually most folks, probably including yourself and me, when our relationships with our significant other started, how did that begin?
Dating.
Now, when you're dating for a while, you eventually, or at some point, you go on the first date.
Okay, first date.
Yes. Now, not every first date is successful.
No.
What would make a first date unsuccessful?
If you died on your first date and the other person had to pick up the tab. It's happened. You know it's happened.
Sure, someone's gone into cardiac arrest.
Right there. If you just showed up to the first date completely naked.
Well, depending on who you are, that might go pretty well.
Right. But you would also probably get kicked out of the restaurant, so then the date's effectively over.
But then you can immediately go back to their place and get down to brass tacks, skip all the...
I don't understand. Why are you going to do your taxes with them on their first date? That's not a good way to keep it.
Well, enough dilly-dallying. You might be wondering what the guess is. So I have brought to you today from a survey of 4,000 former users on the website Plenty of Fish.
Oh, yeah.
These are... These are the top 9 most successful first date ideas. Okay, so this is the top 9 most successful first date ideas. What makes it most successful? They interviewed couples who ended up getting married who met each other on Plenty of Fish.
And by date idea, does that mean like where you take them on the first date?
It will be
What
a
you do on the first
genre,
date?
not a specific place, but a type of date that you could go on. These are the top 9 ranked by the percentage of people who said, hey, we got married and this is what we did on our first date. So number 1.
So like going to the movies could be an example.
Correct. Number 1 is
yes,
30%.
yeah.
30% of these couples did this thing together for their first date.
Ritualistic sacrifice of a child.
Yeah, right. And number 9 is only 2%. 1 in 50 of these people.
Going on a killing spree
Which
with...
I would never do I wouldn't do half of these, but I certainly would never do number 9. But it worked for some people.
Okay, so you think you're better than the average Joe. Got it. And what year was this survey done?
2018, pre-COVID.
And what's the source?
Plenty of Fish.
Oh, they published it themselves, I guess.
They put together the survey, but I actually took the blog from Hitch.com.
Okay. Didn't know Will Smith was writing blogs, but
Good one. According to
get it? 'Cause the
Wikipedia,
movie Hitch?
yeah, it's just not great. According to Wikipedia, a first date is the initial meeting. I love Wikipedia's definitions. The initial meeting during the dating process of 2 individuals in which an effort is made to ask about each other, sometimes, plan a potential relationship. That's interesting. I don't know that you plan out your relationship on the first date. And or organize some sort of romantic activity. Oh, baby, let's hope so.
Oh, baby.
Aims vary between finding a romantic, platonic, or sexual partner for a short period, ranging to finding a long-term spouse. According to Wikipedia, there are many outcomes on the conclusion of a first date.
You don't say.
The 2 individuals may agree for a second date. One or both parties may decide that there are compatibility issues and decide not to pursue future dates.
Which Wikipedia article is this? First date?
Yeah, it's the first date page on Wikipedia.
I can't believe there's one of those. Okay.
It's pretty lengthy, too. Compatibility factors vary greatly and can include religion, whether or not a person uses drugs or alcohol, appearance, or personality. Alternatively, the 2 parties may decide to become friends or some other type of platonic relationship.
Boring. Buster, have you ever been on a 4-way first date?
Yes, all of them, where it included at least 4 people. You got to field your options.
I like the idea of a 4-way couple. Like you're all equally a couple. No, you're not pairing off. It's just all 4 of you are one big couple. What do you think about that?
I think we define that as polyamory, and that's getting more common, actually.
I'm not thinking about it in the sense of like one man married to 3 women.
No.
Right?
Like
Like in the Mormon
polyamorous
sense.
gets very complicated in a web where everybody's in love with everybody.
Okay.
And there's ground rules, boundaries. You can do this with that person, yada, yada.
Yada, yada, yada.
When I lived in Colorado, I had 2 roommates who were in a polyamorous relationship. It got complicated at times.
Gotcha.
My roommates were very frequently asking me if I was going to be home a certain evening and what time. I knew why they were asking. We didn't have to go into details, but I did answer with sincerity about when I was going to be home.
So they lived with you and they were dating, but they were also dating other people that did not live with you.
Correct. They were married to one another, and they had committed for the rest of their lives to be with each other in a committed relationship of sorts. But they also hooked up with and had somewhat reoccurring relationships with other sexual partners. And sometimes whole other couples who would come over. Not while I was there, but
Oh, God.
there's a lot
All right.
going on.
There's a lot going on there. I don't even know what to do with it, so let's move on.
Not much you can do other than just plan your schedule. and just be careful where you sit, I guess.
Ugh. Okay.
According to MetropolitanGirls.com, one successful tip for a first date is make sure you plan it so that you have a good time no matter whether you click with that person or not.
Then you should plan to go...
What about this as a first date idea? You both bring wireless headphones, your smartphone with you, sit in a public place, listen to the same episode of Tinnish Pod at the same time. I think that's a banger.
I didn't even think I had to suggest that because I just assumed that that's what's happening. So I think there's a lot of people listening to us right now that are on their first date together, listening to us simultaneously. And to you, I say, thank you. Yes, I endorse your marriage.
I'll tell them that if it's this episode, if both Dick Amell and I are not invited to your wedding, we're going to be pissed off. I better be at least a groomsman.
We will stalk your family if you do not invite us to your wedding. And in fact, It's not required, but it would be a nice gesture if you also invited me to officiate your wedding. Just a suggestion.
What if you actually did get a officiating request from a Tennis Pod fan out there?
First, I'd check, okay, are you a Tennis Pod Plus member? No? Okay, fucking get out of here.
Get out of here. Unsubscribe, you bitch. I'm not coming.
Yeah.
All right. So you got the top 9 here, and we've got a sub list buried inside of number 1 that we'll review pretty quickly.
You and your fucking sub list. You love the sub list, don't you?
I do. I'm very inclusive when it comes to list making. I try to consider all lists,
But not of people.
appropriate. Well, no.
I wish you were as inclusive as that when you come to people, but it's a whole
Well,
other thing.
If they were top 10 worthy, then I might consider it. But most people aren't.
Top 9 most successful first date ideas.
And try to save number 1.
Okay.
Let's aim for the bottom of the
I've
list.
never been on the show before. Is that how we were supposed to do it?
Well, I've heard plenty of tennis episodes where you go for number 1 right off the bat accidentally and you ruin the whole
That's
episode.
bullshit. I always try to save number 1. Sometimes I'm just too good. I can't help it. But I never intentionally guess number 1
Is that
first.
what you call failing, is being too good? I got to take
Oh
that
my
one.
God.
That's good.
All right, I'm ignoring you. Some first dates include multiple locations or ideas
Or positions.
or positions. Or some first dates include multiple winkies, like we were talking about, but that's another thing. So, okay, let me give you a guess. Is number 1 like the most obvious thing?
I would say number 1, 3, and 5 are the obvious ones. 2 and 4, I don't know about. 1, 3, and 5 are pretty obvious.
So if I were to say bowling, is that too specific?
No, not too specific, but it's not on here. No, that's an interesting one because I don't think bowling actually fits into any of these categories.
Does bowling balls fit inside your ass?
Depends on the time of day, Nick.
Bowling pin?
Yeah, 24/7.
Okay, I thought so.
You got to start with the pin head first because you got to work your way up to the body, the girth, the bottom base of the pin.
You don't do it sideways? Okay. Okay, I'm going to say one, how about like a stroll in the park?
Okay. A stroll in the park. Now that's pretty close. I'm going to have to give it to you to number 2. The category for number 2 is titled Romantic Walk.
I knew it.
18% of folks who ended up getting married from Plenty of Fish said that their first date was a romantic walk. Now I have a question. How does one classify a walk romantic? What are your thoughts?
Is a walk romantic on a first date? I mean, doesn't there have to be chemistry established via the first date before a future walk can be considered romantic?
See, this is kind of my bone with it, is that I'm picking here. How does one establish that you went on a romantic walk? I mean, you could be walking through a downtown urban area and having great conversation. You turn the corner and you see a homeless individual shitting on the sidewalk. I no longer think that's going to be a romantic walk. You intended it to be romantic.
Yeah, the intention, it's the idea, remember? The idea for the first date is the list title.
So walking through a beautiful blossoming park.
Maybe that person did plan the shitting homeless person and that's their idea of a romantic first date. Who are you to judge?
Well, different strokes, different folks.
Different shits, different Brits. I don't know. Fuck you.
Now, I struggle with this one. I don't know that I could build a date around pitching just a walk. It's something I've not done myself.
That's what George did in Seinfeld. He loves the date because you can walk, and that's when he tells his date that he loves the word manua. Because think about it, you got ma, nua. And then she tells him she has a boyfriend on the date. But anyway, yeah, I'm not pro walk first date. That's not for me.
So you're more pro lying down?
I prefer the crawling first date, where you crawl through the park.
Sure.
On your hands and knees.
See what you can find underneath benches.
Have you ever done a walk first date?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Because you've been on a lot more first dates than I have.
I could see walking if it was part of something else on this list, but not by itself. I wouldn't be like, hey, do you want to meet me at Swan Park and go for a walk?
I agree. If it's part of something else, it makes sense. By itself, it's a little of a letdown. It's underwhelming for a first date.
Or it's
Plus, how are you going to get into her apartment? You know?
It's a bold move, I think.
Cotton. Yeah.
But actually, now that I say that, some of these are even more bold than a walk. I guess one of the things that's low pressure about it is you're not sitting 3 feet away from them, staring into their eyes for at least an hour. You can look around at the scenery. You've got the conversation topics coming up left and right as you meander through your environment. So I guess there's that. Not having to stare at each other constantly.
And you can also test their endurance because you got to power walk like you're in a power walking Olympic competition and see if they keep up with you. And if they don't, then you got to find a new first date.
Challenge them to at least 3 fits of strength along the route. Yeah, see how much grit they've got.
I think a romantic walk, we've been focusing on like parks and stuff, but there's also like the beach, walk along the beach, right? For your first date.
Boy, oh boy, Nick, you're showing your skills as a 10-ish list guesser because you just walked right headfirst into number 6, which would be a walk along the beach at 5%. 1 in 20 married couples from Plenty of Fish said that they took a walk on the beach as their first date.
To clarify, Plenty of Fish is a dating website, not a website where you buy a barrel of fish, right?
Correct, and we're not talking about the dating habits of several fishes either.
Walk along the beach should have been collapsed into romantic walk. That's just me, but
I think so. How often have you took a first date on the beaches of Oklahoma?
Zero times. There are no beaches in Oklahoma, no oceans in Oklahoma, and I haven't taken a first date since I was 17 years old, so all that's working against me.
Now, with a walk on the beach, there's just so many things to consider, much like the romantic walk. There's so many things that can go wrong and astray. There's so many people you're going to run into on the beach that you would rather have witnessed with more clothing on. I think that's going to inhibit your ability to get into a flow on the first date.
And what if you show up for the first date and you're both in bathing suits and one of you is like, I don't know.
Are you going to wear street clothes and just walk on the beach and then you eventually find yourself back at the car and then you say goodbye? Or are you both wearing swimsuits with the potential that you're going to be half clothed in front of each other on your first date? It's a lot of gray zone there.
I think the best bet is to wear a bathing suit but wear clothes with it. Like a man would wear a bathing suit bottom with a t-shirt and a woman would wear like shorts over, you know what I mean? Like,
sure. You're option.
Covered, but you're also prepared. Yeah, you got the option, right? This is dating advice. People going on their first date to the beach. Here you go. And apparently there's a 5% chance you'll end up married to that person if you do this.
Now, an easy cop-out would to just say, oh, I didn't bring my swimsuit. And then you don't have to take your clothes off.
And the other person would say, well, we're at a fucking beach. You didn't think there was a chance we'd get in the water? I guess it depends on time of year and all that. But
yeah, and if you're like up in the Northeast or the Pacific Northwest and you get one good day of swimming a year, then yeah, you're most likely not getting in.
Yeah. Are you sick of feeling sluggish and low energy? Or maybe you wake up feeling like you didn't get enough sleep? This message is for you, dear sleep-deprived, low-energy listener. Our partner, Athletic Greens, makes it easy to cover your nutritional basis every day. AG1 by Athletic Greens is so powerful because it's so easy to fit into your lifestyle. Personally, I take AG1 every morning to start my day. It gives me a boost of energy, supports my immune system, helps me get a better night of sleep, improves digestion, and more. Plus, it tastes great. Why take a bunch of different things when you can just mix 1 scoop of powder in water once a day? With AG1, taking good care of my body each day is really that simple. But enough of me blabbering. It's time for you to see for yourself. If you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and fire-free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/tennish. That's athleticgreens.com/10ish. Check it out. And remember, when you get your AG1, not only will you be supporting your body, but you'll be supporting Tennish Podcast as well. Get started now at athleticgreens.com/tennish.
Bowie, Dylan, Marley. You've heard the names and maybe you've heard their songs, but what about the stories behind the records that made titans of music like these so universally loved and important? Join me, Josh Adam Myers, host of The 500, as each week I go through a different album from Rolling Stone magazine's 500 Greatest Albums list from 2012 with an incredible lineup of comedians, actors, and musicians talking about how the music has impacted their lives. New episodes of The 500 come out every Wednesday. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
Well. Looks like someone's making me record a trailer for my podcast, Binge Watchers Podcast, on someone else's show. Plus, I got a knack for spoiling movies that I love. So if you're tired of those pretentious film critics telling you what to like, come hang out with us. And when you're done listening to this other podcast, hit subscribe on Binge Watchers. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you do, well, at least you've had a good laugh. Hold my beer.
All right, so you've got Romantic Walk at number 2, Beach at number 6. Next guess.
I mean, this could be number 1, I guess, but I don't think it is, and that's going to be a movie date.
Movie Date coming in at number 4.
Knew it.
Going to see a movie at the theater, 13%.
This is a solid choice to me because, well, I'm sorry, go ahead and share your notes first. If you
No,
have
go
any.
ahead and explain, because I think I take the opposite stance of you, but I want to hear your justification.
Always having to justify myself to you, aren't I? After, 20 years of friendship, I still have to justify myself to you.
Well, justify the reason for this podcast existing.
So I don't want to do a ton of talking on a first date. I want to see them. I want to say hello. You talk before the movie happens, and then the movie happens and you have a buffer. You have an hour and a half to 2 hours, or maybe with a Marvel movie, like 18 hours, to sit in the movie theater. You're not pressured to talk. You can kind of assess the situation. Now, there's the danger there of like the hand holding and stuff like that. Like, do you do it? Do you not? That sort of thing. But I think the movie theater experience provides a nice, comfortable, neutral zone to kind of feel each other out.
Oh, baby.
And then at the end of the movie, then you talk again, then you get married.
Wouldn't you think for 2 hours, what's the first thing I'm going to say when this is over? That would prevent me from enjoying the movie. I'd be so riddled with anticipation.
No, you plan that out during the trailers. There's like 20 minutes of trailers before the movie starts, so you get that locked down in your brain during that 20 minutes, and then you have the next 2 hours to just enjoy the movie.
To second guess whether that's actually the right thing to say or not. That's my personality.
Yeah, but it's better than like sitting at let's say you're at a dinner. Although a dinner and a movie are usually probably paired together, but let's say you're at a dinner, you say something stupid like a Dr. Buster is known to do. There's no time to reflect on it because the conversation is in real time, right? You're just going. There's no buffer built in. You're just you.
Seeing a movie is kind of like a date condom. It gives you a buffer zone in between. It's safer.
Sure. Yeah, that's how I would describe it as well. Yeah.
Now, during the movie, are you looking at each other? If it's like a comedy, your mouth is wide open, you're laughing, your gut's bouncing, and do you look to your right or
No,
left?
I think her mouth is definitely wide open.
Are you making eye contact during the movie, or is it the kind of thing where you're like, you don't want an awkward where you're like looking at them too much during the film? See, there's too much for me to think about.
The same is true for a dinner. Am I watching them eat, or am I don't know.
Well, yeah. So
Is there something in my teeth?
with clients, what I always think about too, and I would think about this on a first date, when you're actively taking the drink from the cup, where are your eyes looking? Do you like cock
Tits.
the cup?
Cock?
Some people,
Yours are on the cock?
many clients I work with, they'll tip the cup to the side and they'll maintain the eye contact, staring straight at me while they're taking a drink.
That's stupid. That's stupid.
I tend to kind of look off towards the wall and take a break
Yeah,
from the
no, I'm with you.
conversation.
I think anyone that keeps their eyes on you during a cocked back drink, like, their head's angled back drinking water, anyone that keeps their eyes on you is a fucking sociopath. It
That's
should
like
be
half my clients.
taken out of society.
Yeah, it's funny.
I'm with you on that.
I don't like the movie for that reason because I want to get to know the person, and there's too many social ambiguities right there that are happening during the film. And what movie are you going to go see? Are you seeing a slasher horror film? Are you seeing a comedy that could get awkward? Are you seeing a drama that you might start crying 40 minutes in?
Well, I think you would discuss that pre-movie. You don't just show up at the movie and be like, "Hey, we're seeing, Saw 8 today." You would discuss prior to the date, like, "Do you like horror? Do you like this?"
Yeah, but what movie she chooses, or they choose, whoever you're dating, could be a nice filter for you to not even show up on the date.
You're right.
If I'm going on a date and she says, "How about Fast 10?" I'd say, "Oh, looks like I'm busy. We won't be going on a date after all. Sorry. It would have been really nice to meet you, but
Buster.
we're done."
God damn. Hot take.
Sorry. If a first date tells me that we're going to go see Fast and Furious 10, I'm not getting married to you, babe. It's not working out.
That's Fast X, bub.
Fast X. Yeah, you're
call it
quickly my
Fast X.
ex. Fastest ex I've ever seen because I didn't go on a date with you to begin with.
God damn. Savage. Hey, let me ask you this. This could go for a movie theater, although I know you're not a big snacker during a movie, I don't think, but same could apply for like a dinner date.
Dan, too many social faux pas considerations with snacks on a first date.
That's where I'm going, but I think it applies to dinner too. Are you going to let the fact that you're on a date influence what you order?
Oh, yeah.
If you would normally order something like, let's say it's messy or greasy or something, and you might feel judged for that, then you're going to order something a little more middle of the road.
For sure. I'm very aware of the optics. And especially if it's something that's going to give me gas. No, we're not even going there on a first date.
Yeah. So basically you drinking water and nothing else the whole first date.
Right, yeah. Water with ice and a little bit of lemon. That's about all I take in on first dates.
Now, I've told this story at least twice on the pod, but very quickly, it's been a while. When I went to a movie once, this was not a first date. It was The Conjuring, the first Conjuring movie, where in the last 10 minutes of the movie, like the last 10 minutes of the movie, this is the climax. Drama's at a fever pitch. Everyone's on the edge of the seat. Huge woman gets up, and this is old style movie theater seating where you have to kind of squeeze by everyone and everyone has to kind of stand up for you to get out. And I'm thinking, well, she must really got to go to the bathroom or else she's leaving at the best part. Why is she doing that? Nope. Comes back with a giant ass sticky hot dog and starts eating it at the very end of this movie. Do you think that woman was on a first date?
At the climax of The Conjuring, she's conjuring some nasty future shit. I'll tell you that.
She could have been on a first date. We don't know. I don't know the woman, but I'm sure she's listening.
That, a hot dog, or a bratwurst, or a kielbasa sausage.
A movie theater hot dog.
I don't care where it is. A hot dog is not something you're going to see me ordering on a first date ever. Doesn't matter where we're at.
Well, what if it's a hot dog restaurant you're at?
I'm not going.
Then you got to order a hot dog.
Again, if I ask a person that I'm about to meet for the first time, where would you like to get dinner? My potential lover.
And they say Wiener Schnitzel.
And she says, let's go to a hot dog restaurant. I'm going to say, looks like I'm busy for the next 3 years. Is this not going to work out?
But Buster, what if it's supposed to be more of like a casual like lunch date? Doesn't have to be fancy.
Yeah, where we get to watch each other take down 12-inch Coney dogs? Not interested. Not what I'm going for.
You're just getting prepped for the second date, bub.
Well, that's true. You got to take the car for a test drive, and what better way to see them in action than see them take down a hot dog? And then you got to wonder, is that a transferable skill? Not all skills transfer.
I think that's a pretty safe bet, though. Safer than some skills.
All
but
right.
I do want to give a shout out before we move on to the Conjuring woman who got the hot dog in the last 10 minutes of the movie, because I've told that story many times and it always lands.
Now, did you, in the moment, were you annoyed or were you laughing as it was occurring?
Again, I can't stress, I'm not exaggerating. This is the best part of the movie. Like, no one's getting up or leaving. And she makes everyone get up. It's like a stadium where you have to stand up to let her out. And so the whole row's standing up, like probably 30 people are standing up to let her out. And I'm thinking, okay, bathroom or emergency or phone call she has to make.
Scared shitless.
Yeah, right. Nope, comes back with that hot dog. And I'm appalled is what I am. I'm like confused. I'm shocked. I'm trying to understand. You couldn't wait. You couldn't wait. This is like 10 plus years ago, and I still remember it because I was so like taken aback by it. But God bless her. She got that hot dog.
She just became uncontrollably hungry for a hot dog, watching The Possession and Conjuring of Demon Spirits. She's like, oh, God, nothing makes me salivate more for a big old Wiener Schnitzel than watching someone possibly get possessed. I can't stand it anymore.
Watching someone get exorcised or whatever.
How long was she sitting there waiting, like, can I make it? Should I get up? And she's waiting, like, every dull moment when you're sitting on the precipice of getting up from your seat and you're thinking, oh, now's the time. She's probably doing that for 30 minutes before she finally executed the getting up to get the hot dog.
Executed the game plan to get the hot dog. Well, she should have just stocked up on hot dogs before she got there, but we don't know that she didn't. It's possible she sat down in that seat at the beginning of the movie with like 20 hot dogs loaded up and ready to go. She thought she was going to be cruise control for the rest of the movie. She wouldn't have to get back up, but she underestimated how hungry she'd be for hot dogs. And it's possible also it was my original sidekick host Brandon in a wig, not wanting to be recognized by me for his hot dog misadventures.
For sure. We can't rule it out.
We can't.
Well, hats off to you, listener of the show, hot dog consuming lady from The Conjuring.
Yep. Thank you for 10 plus years of podcast material. All right, I'm going to give you another guess, and that is How about like the mall? You know, sometimes people just go to the mall and hang out. Nothing like that.
No, that's a good guess, actually. I would put walking at a mall above some of these, personally. It's not romantic, but you've got conversation fodder, you've got background noise, awkward silences aren't that awkward because it is loud.
Dancing.
Oh, going out dancing, no. I like that one if you're both dancers, but it's not on the list.
How you said about someone suggesting a hot dog restaurant for a first date, if they suggest dancing to me on a first date, then I think I'm going to be sick that day because your boy don't dance. I mean, there's only so many things. I mean, like, I don't know, a concert, amusement park,
All right. Wow.
both of them?
Bing, bing, bing. You just family feuded
All right.
your way through the bottom half of this list. So let's start lower. At number 9, coming in at 2%, 1 in 50 of these people polled said they did a first date at an amusement park or carnival. This is one I just don't get. I can't get behind. I can't imagine taking someone I don't know to an amusement park, waiting super long in lines to get on rides that are like somewhat scary, somewhat
That's the key.
dirty,
That's the key.
or a carnival where you can't really decide on what to do and there's so much going on. I don't know. What are your thoughts on a first date at an amusement park?
You have shit on every one of these dates so far. You've shit on every single one.
They're just not me.
Do you just not like life? You don't like people?
I guess what I'm saying for my personal first date preference, I want predictability. A social situation in which I can kind of assume the way it's going to go down. A carnival, that could go 1,000 ways at any given moment.
The biggest thing with the carnival or amusement park that you already mentioned is the lines, because sometimes you're waiting in a line for an hour plus per ride. That's a lot of talking time. You got to figure out what to talk about on that first date, because first dates can be awkward. Let's just be honest. I mean, sometimes you all hit it off, sometimes you don't. If you don't hit it off, or you're struggling to hit it off, and now you're stuck in line all day with this person. Plus, what if they're ugly? You got to look at them the whole time in line too, and smell them. What if they stink?
And then 5 minutes later, you're thinking, oh God, please don't die. Please don't die. Please don't think about that this carnival ride was carried across the country on 3 different 18-wheelers 2 days ago. Please don't think about where the food comes from that this guy who might have 3 or 4 teeth just served me.
Okay, this is a different anxiety. This isn't even related to the first date. This is just you being a weird ass. Although those are all valid points. I don't ride carnival rides.
You add all of those on top of the stress and logistics of a first date. It's too much.
Do you think the Conjuring young lady that we mentioned earlier would wait in a line for 2 hours for a ride at the carnival, and she's 2 hours in the line, and she's 3 people away from her turn, and she leaves to go get a fucking hot dog because she can't
Absolutely.
she can't stand it anymore?
But whoever she got in line with will still be in the line. And she's going to bump past everybody in that line to try to get back to her spot while eating the hot dog.
Do you think if she came alone and there was no one holding her spot, she'd still go get the hot dog and give up her spot in line?
I think so.
Yeah.
She seems like a driven yet desperate individual.
I agree. I agree.
That's a dangerous combination. Now, so that's number 9, amusement park. Number 7, music festival or concert. You got that as well. Number 7 at 4%, music festival or concert.
This is the one that I'm least on board with so far. And that's just because
Spit it to us straight.
a few things. One, what if you guys don't like the same music?
True.
2, you can't talk because the music is so loud.
But you can't talk in a movie either.
No, but you got before and after the movie.
Well, you got before and after the concert.
I guess you got before and after the concert. Yeah. That's true.
And in between opening acts.
And also in a movie, you're seated and you're not moving around and you know how to behave. Most people, like, you just watch or you laugh, whatever. In a concert, what if your first date starts breakdancing in the middle of a show or starts mosh pitting, or you just don't know, right? There's so much more unpredictability there.
Yeah. There's a lot of things you can find out about a person very quickly if you're at a music fest with them. And a lot of music festivals are multi-day events. They're long, all day, so many different artists to choose from. The difficulties, jumping in, what do you say? And I'm going back to my Fast and Furious 10 point. If you ask them about a first date, what concert do you want to go to? It's going to give you a lot of relevant information about them.
Yeah.
If she said, I would like to go to a Dierks Bentley concert, I'd say, oof, I don't know. I don't think I can make it.
Mm-hmm. That can tell you a lot about who they are, what they're into right there, just based on their music choices.
And we all know that the bathroom /snack /drink setup at concerts and music festivals, not ideal. You're most likely using a horrendous bathroom, porta potty.
Really?
So many unknown variables, or at least at music fests.
You don't think they're ideal? I always thought they were very ideal. Just kidding.
See more for our pet peeve episodes on us talking about
Yep.
public bathrooms.
Number 214. More public bathroom talk than you'll ever want is on that one.
But you definitely need it.
You do, just like every 10-inch pod episode. I wanted to ask you, what if you were talking to someone on Plenty of Fish, the app, not the Fish Market website?
I do talk to Plenty of Fish.
It's good information to know. See, that would help me determine whether or not I wanted to go on a first date with you.
Exactly.
If you mentioned that.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's say you're talking to someone on this app. It's pre-first date. You're trying to decide where to go on your first date. And you suggest, hey, how about a concert? And the other person, let's say it's a she says, yeah, that sounds great. There's a Paw Patrol musical coming to town next week. And you're like, oh, do you have kids? Sure, I'll go with that with you and your kids. And she says, no kids.
Just a huge fan of Paw Patrol. I love the messaging and super cute.
Yeah.
And really so catchy.
Would you go?
No. I don't think I could.
You're a monster.
I'd have too many questions.
Would you say something in the app, or would you just ghost her and never talk to her again?
I can't ghost people. That's a pet peeve.
Mm.
Speaking of pet peeves, I would have to say something. I'm going to have to do a straightforward letdown. I can't just ghost people. My most sworn nemesis on this planet, I wouldn't ghost. I'd at least explain why I hate them.
Okay. That's respectable, Buster.
Thank you. All right, next guess. We're going to go in for number 8. You can talk more during this than a movie or a concert, but it's going to be loud. And there is a centerpiece thing that you're going to witness together.
I don't know, fucking circus?
I think I put that in with the carnival.
You
It can be a circus depending on who you're sitting around.
think hot dog lady's there?
Well, depending on which of these type of events you go to, there'll be plenty of hot dogs.
A dog show? I'd love it if
No.
that's number 8, but I know it's
Interesting.
not. I'm struggling. Help me here.
A sporting event.
That's number 8, a sporting event?
That is, yeah. Number 8
Yeah,
is a
okay.
sporting event with 3% of couples saying that was their first date.
That makes sense.
Now, that includes anything from football to baseball,
To mud wrestling.
mud wrestling.
I'm surprised that's below concerts.
To be fair, concerts at 4%, sporting event is at 3%, so they're pretty close.
I disagree.
But again, so okay, if you had to do a first date to a sporting event, which sport would you pick?
Depends what you want in a first date. If you want a first date that you have a lot of time and it's a little quieter, you're not in a hurry, golf and baseball might be good choices. If you're not putting as much priority on getting to talk and you want to be a little more lively and jumping around, that might be better for basketball, football, something like that. If you want a first date at a sporting event where you can make a decision whether or not you even want to see this person again, then maybe like a matador where you can throw her into the bull ring and have her get taken out that way.
Sure, yeah, you can easily pull the ripcord and get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Which you could at a football game just say, at the end of the second quarter here, I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then your ass just leaves. You never come back.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I do with my first family and my first wife. I told her I was going to go grab some milk at the store real quick, and I never came back.
Yes. Yeah, and then you went and saw a sporting event.
Mm-hmm. By myself.
Because that was more bearable than being with your family.
Yep.
I see both sides of the coin here. If I'm into the game, I'm going because I want to support the team. I want to have a fun time while being on the date, basketball, football. If I'm going to do more conversation, get to know them, chat, and I want it to be quiet, casual, I'm going to the baseball game because personally I don't care about the baseball game. Could give 2 shits less, and it's really just an excuse to have something to look at while you talk.
Yeah, but the baseball game's long. That's the thing. Baseball game, you're going to be there a while, so settle in.
That's true. Yeah, some of these others are, 30 minutes to an hour. That's 2 to 3 hours. It's a commitment.
What sporting event are you going to that's 30 minutes?
No, in the other categories here on the list.
Oh, okay.
Like number
You're right.
5 and number 3 could easily be 30 minutes long, which you've not guessed yet.
So could the romantic walk?
That's true. It doesn't have to be a long walk.
Any of these could be 30 minutes if you just get the hell out of there mid-date. The date ends when you leave.
Yeah, there's actually a point about number 5 there.
Okay.
Which, why don't we just go to that? Because you've got,
Sure.
let's recap.
Yeah.
Number 9, amusement park or carnival. Number 8, sporting event. Number 7, music festival or concert. Number 6, the beach. Number 5, you've yet to guess. 4, movie. 3, you've yet to guess. 2, romantic walk. And number 1, you've yet to guess. So you've got 5, 3, and 1 left. These are the top 3, I think, are the most obvious choices.
I'm trying to save number 1.
Number 5 tends to happen during the day.
What about a hike?
I think that would be involved in a romantic walk.
Well, I thought that about the beach too, but okay.
Yeah.
Ding Dong Ditch.
This happens during the morning or midday.
Oh, coffee date.
Coffee date at number 5. 9% of couples who got married said they did this for their first date. According to MetropolitanGirls.com, the pros of a coffee date is it's casual, stress-free, relatively safe, inexpensive. You don't get slurry drunk. You can cut it short, saying that you have to get to your next obligation, or you can prolong it and go somewhere else afterwards. The cons to a coffee date, it's not all that romantic. You do have forced talking, sitting right across the table from one another, and coffee shops tend to have smaller tables. Coffee does come with some unpleasant side effects. You can get too jittery or anxious. And most importantly, it doesn't feel like a date if you're going in the morning or at lunchtime. The coffee date.
Despite the cons, hang on, I'm going to sneeze. What'd you think of my sneeze? Manly?
I think it was top 10. For
Okay.
sure. I don't know if it's number 1, but
Top 10, I'll take that. Out of billions of people in the world, I'll take that. So the coffee date, I think despite the cons, and those are real cons, I think it's among the better choices on this list so far because of the pros you said.
I agree.
I think like you get out of there if you need, and it's an easy excuse to make, oh, I just remembered I have a meeting coming up, whatever. But if things are going well, and she's not leaving halfway through to go get a hot dog at the movie theater next door, then you can prolong the coffee date. Stay for a little while longer.
What if her getting up 10 minutes before the end of the date to get a foot-long hot dog is the indicator
Foot-long.
that this definitely needs to continue? You're like, you know, I was on the fence about you, but now that I see what you just did here at the end of our coffee date, are you available for dinner tonight?
I like the idea of even though you're at a coffee shop and you're at a table that probably seats 2, just like the movie theater, she's still going to make you get out of your seat and like, nudge past you to get out.
And she's gone for 30 minutes, walked 3 blocks down to the hot dog stand to get a hot dog and brings it back to the coffee shop.
30 minutes on a first date. Your date just disappears for 30 minutes.
And she says, I promise I'll be right back. I'll just hold on, I'll be right back.
Comes back with a giant ass hot dog. And then she's like, hey, have you seen The Conjuring? I hear it's playing.
Do you want to go see that after that? And then towards the end of the movie, she gets another hot dog.
Yeah, what we don't know is that earlier, when I was at that Conjuring movie, she was on her first date. And earlier that day, she had done the same thing at the coffee date with someone else.
All right, hold up. Here's the trifecta. Then you end up at her apartment. Things are getting hot and heavy.
Oh, baby.
You've finally gotten to the point where you're having sex. You're under the covers. Things are getting close. You get into the climax of the situation. And she's like, hey, hold on.
She gets up and leaves.
I got a hankering for something. You hear the microwave beeping?
No, she leaves. I like it better if she leaves the house. And goes to the hot dog stand down the street. Comes back. And this is like during the climax, like you said. Same as The Conjuring. Man. When you gotta go, you gotta go. When you need a hot dog, you need a hot dog.
She comes in, the hot dog's half eaten, the dinner bag is tucked underneath her arm. She's like, I'm sorry, you are so excellent in bed, and I was really craving a third hot dog for today.
Yeah, this is still the first day, and that's 3 hot dogs.
And she like crams the bun in her mouth and finishes off the hot dog. She's like wiping her hands off. She's like, all right, where were we?
I'd be weighing whether or not I should continue, and I'd be like, fuck it, let's keep going.
I drop down on my knees right there and say, will you marry me? I have found Mrs. Right.
Well, isn't that what happened? That's how you met your first wife, right? That's what we're describing?
Yeah, this is actually biographical.
Yeah.
How me and my wife met.
All right, I like the coffee date.
Some people love the coffee date.
Yeah.
Not for me.
I don't really like coffee, period, so there's a hot take for you.
So what would you get? Like a tea or lemonade or...
Hot chocolate.
Oh, hot chocolate. All right.
Hot chocolate's my go-to whenever I'm at a coffee place. Back when people were shitting in the streets, you may have heard me and my frequent sidekick host Alex Johns utter that recurring thought on Tennis Podcast before. The idea is that people throughout history have been smart enough to propel our species forward, but despite that, people were still basically shitting in the streets for all of human history until about 200 years ago. Well, I have some shitty news for you. Me and Alex recently uncovered the in-depth history of sewage and sanitation in our newest bonus episode. That's right, we go all the way back to over 10,000 years ago to discuss how ancient humans first started dealing with all the literal shit piling up in their lives. And we trace that all the way to the modern age. It's more fascinating than you may think, believe me. You can listen to this new bonus episode right now only on TennisPod Plus. Sign up in seconds at tennispod.com/plus or in the Apple Podcast app. Listen now to have all your lingering questions about sewage flushed away.
Fear is the virus is trending on TikTok. Vaccines are poison. Then your yoga teacher says that sex-trafficked children are being sacrificed by satanic liberals, but it's all okay. The Great Awakening is coming. What is happening? Every week on Conspirituality Podcast, we explore the fever dreams that suck friends, family, and wellness gurus down the right-wing cult spiral in a search for salvation.
Have you ever wondered why we call French fries French fries? Or why something is the greatest thing since sliced bread? There are answers to those questions. Everything Everywhere Daily is a podcast for curious people who want to learn more about the world around them. Every day, you'll learn something new about things you never knew you didn't know. Subjects include history, science, geography, mathematics, and culture. If you're a curious person and want to learn more about the world you live in, just subscribe to Everything Everywhere Daily wherever you cast your pod.
All right, we're coming in here. Number 3 and number 1. You've done a great job not soiling this list so far, so let's not screw it up yet. Number 3. What hint could I give you? I bet you know what these two left are.
You said it's, a bar. Meet at a bar. Number 3.
Very impressive. Most impressive. Number 3, 16% of couples met for drinks at a bar.
Knew it.
Advice from dailymeal.com. Quote, when choosing a bar for a first date, pick one that is not too fancy, but's not too divey. You want a place where you can wear jeans, but maybe not shorts. If you go too fancy, you'll end up looking like you're trying too hard to impress them, putting an extra level of pressure on the date that you just don't need. Go too far in the other direction to a dive bar, and your night may end up in a bar fight with a drunk construction worker on disability instead of a smooch from your new paramour.
What a write-up, man. Someone got paid for that.
Also from Daily Meal, quote, select a bar with good lighting. Everyone looks better in low, warm, incandescent light. That includes you and your pretty mug. If there are fluorescent buzzing lights overhead, no matter how nicely you're dressed or how good your makeup is, you'll both look washed out and drawn. Further, some studies show that institutional fluorescent light may actually have an effect on your mood, making you feel tired, anxious, or even nauseous.
Buster, I don't know. Maybe I'm weird, but have you ever picked a first date spot and been like, oh, the lighting's no good there, we can't go there?
No, I have not. I will say dim lighting feels more romantic, subjectively.
Sure. But that, I don't know, when you're at a bar, maybe.
But no bar is as bright as a cubicle-filled office. None of them are.
No, right.
They're all some degree of dim, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not like putting a Ring camera up behind my date here so that I have the best ideal lighting.
Although that's an idea. You get a better idea of what she looks like that way.
Now, drinks at a bar, personal favorite. This is the one I might go with. you could say technically this is the first date I chose for my significant other who eventually I got married to. We met at a brewery, which if you live in a place with a lot of breweries, that's like a step down from intensity of a bar. They're more casual. People don't go to they don't go there to drink well liquor. They go there for craft beers. They close early. A lot of them serve food. It's much more casual. Speaking of lighting, the lighting's not as dim, etc.
I think the brewery is kind of the evening equivalent of the coffee date in a lot of ways.
Very well said.
Thank you.
And that's why we come here to Tennis Pod, for that amazing insight. Shit, you just revolutionized my personal relationships.
Thank you.
Anyone you'd like to thank in particular? The Academy or Dr. Buster or...
God.
I
thank God. Lord and Savior.
Hot take. Ooh, what do you think about first date going to church?
I was going to guess earlier a Church of Scientology meetup. Do you think there's a lot of first dates happening there?
No, but I would say there's probably a decent amount of the American population who thinks going to church together would be a decent first date option.
It's funny because technically my first date to my current wife, we met as kids at a church. So that's kind of cute.
But, okay, so you grew up in the same church.
It wasn't a date, though. Yeah.
Right. Do you remember what your first date location was?
Yeah, it's going to be my number one guess.
Oh, what a segue. You are a master after 200-something lists. You've got the skills, so why don't you go ahead and impress us with the numero uno category for most successful first date ideas.
And we know how you feel about Segways and the people that ride them.
Yeah, if you own a Segway or use one, or you like one, if you got one tattooed on your ass or as a tramp stamp, just unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe. I mean, maybe this is too obvious. I don't know. Just dinner. Going out to dinner. Is that the number one?
You got it. A sit-down dinner meal, a restaurant is the number one category. A whopping 30 folks, 30% of Plenty of Fish users surveyed said that their first date was a sit-down dinner meal at a restaurant. Now, if you're remembering, romantic walk, number 2, drops all the way to 18%. So sit-down meal is about 1 in 3 people. This, also a personal favorite, for many reasons.
To me, like, this would be my go-to for a first date, because everybody's got to eat. You don't have to worry about, well, maybe they don't like coffee, or maybe they don't like drinking. Everyone's got to eat. Restaurant's a safe choice. And you get time to talk, you get time to know each other, and if things don't go well, just grab the steak knife and make a move.
The food consideration here, though, is a tricky one.
That's huge.
You're not getting wings or ribs.
Yep, you're right. You're right.
Maybe even a burger. You know, you're going for a salad, something you can use a fork or a spoon with.
You're on a first date, Buster. What's the worst thing you or your date could order and consume in front of you?
Something that's not only messy, but it smells bad. And nothing's really jumping to mind.
I was thinking like bull testicles or something.
Oh, yeah. Something just kind of outlandish. That's also gross.
Movie theater hot dog?
Something that indicates to me they don't have much social awareness.
It'll be interesting to see how many people we've turned off during this episode by shitting on their first dates or their first date choices, but whatever.
It's all in good jest, folks. You've all got your own opinions.
Yep.
And you all have your personal favorites. All the Tennis listeners out there, I'm sure each of you could tell us a good point about all 9 of these categories in a way that you succeeded very well, and we're very happy for you. Another quote from a blogger here at the Daily Meal. Quote, "A good first date is a lot like a movie trailer. It ought to be short, exciting, and leave you both wanting more."
I agree. I think short for a first date is a good choice for me. That's why I don't think I'd do a sporting event or an amusement park, because those are typically 3+ hours of time commitment.
Sure.
I think I'm going coffee date or dinner or movie theater, because movie theater is longer, but there's a lot of quiet built-in buffer there. Built-in time to reflect.
I have a personal story about a sit-down restaurant. Now, this was a lunch date. This was a first date. Met them online. Met up with this girl when I lived in Colorado. I lived with roommates at the time, and they knew I was going to a pizza place. This pizza place made very good pizza. And I was supposed to order the largest pizza they had so that I could bring back leftovers for my roommates. So I had this plan going into the date. We get there and meet the girl. She seems very nice. Somewhat socially awkward, I could kind of tell from the beginning, but that's okay. You know, we're just getting to know each other and chat over waters and pizza. And, you know, I ordered the biggest pizza they have. We kind of decide, we go in on it together, or like we decide what we're going to get together, and we're just going to split up that pizza. So the food comes, we're having conversation. It's kind of fun. Not having too...
Did you kill this young girl, Buster? Just tell me, did you end up killing her?
No, we both have our first 2 pieces of pizza, and I'm full because it's deep dish, massive pizza.
Uh-oh.
She asked, "Oh, do you mind if I have a third piece?" I said, "No, please, go ahead. So we're still chatting, talking. She goes through the third piece, and we're sitting there having conversation for a bit, about to ask for a box, and she says, "Well, do you mind if I have a fourth piece?" Oh, please, go ahead. No, I've got plenty of pieces to spare for my roommates. She has a fourth piece, and we're still sitting there talking. It's taking a bit. Waiter's not really coming around a lot, and she says, "Well, do you mind if I have another?" "Please, go ahead." At this point, I'm like, oh, damn, I'm not going to have leftovers for all my roommates, but I might have 1 or 2 pieces left. And she proceeds to ask me until the whole pizza is gone. She ate the entire thing.
She ate the whole thing?
Yes, it was an impressive feat of food consumption.
Wow.
I've been known to put away a decent amount of food at one sitting, and I was impressed. My eyebrows raised. I couldn't believe it. There's a part of me that couldn't wait to get home and tell my roommates about the date. I knew it wasn't going to turn into a second date because by the end of it, our personalities just didn't really clash. And I don't know whether she was like a struggling grad student and saw this as a free, easy meal that she was going to stock up because she didn't know the next time she was going to get a free meal.
Maybe she's stocking up to hibernate, maybe.
If she was that enraptured with the pizza, she just couldn't help herself. But I had 2 pieces of the largest pizza this place had to offer, and she took down the rest of it.
Which is at least like 6 pieces, right?
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And I think I asked, if my memory serves correctly, at some point in the middle of this, I had asked for a box in anticipation, and then the box was just sitting there empty as I signed the check because wasn't anything to take home.
So you never saw her again?
No, and it was mutual too. I could tell that she was not feeling it, and so it was the kind of thing where when you walked out of the restaurant together, we both were like, all right, well, nice to meet you. Bye. And it was like very mutual understanding that this was it.
Be honest, Buster. Was this one of those stories where you were pretending that she ate the pizza, but really you ate the entire pizza?
It was me. Yeah, I just couldn't. I couldn't admit that that's the way every first date has ever gone.
Did she even exist, Buster? Were you sitting at that pizza place by yourself?
Yeah, I'm sitting there talking to myself, making up conversation, all as an excuse to explain away my eating habits.
Yeah. I'm glad you came clean.
So my little sub list inside of this is Clover.com asks 200,000 users on the dating app Clover. They utilize the on-demand dating function. So this has a pre-built-in list of chains, food and drink chains. And you can select an agreed-upon location in the app. So it takes away all of the guesswork for you to decide where are we going for our first date. You just pick the chain, you agree upon it. It's a safe meeting place. It's in public. It's decided.
That's a good idea.
So here are the top 10. I'm not going to have you guess them all, but here are the top 10 most popular places to have an on-demand first date from the Clover dating app. Number 10, Applebee's. I'm already judging them.
Applebee's.
You couldn't even go for an upper echelon chain. You went with the Applebee's.
Well, Buster, I remember 19-year-old Buster loving the quesadilla burger at Applebee's.
I did. I will say there was like probably a 6-year span of my life where if you wanted to impress me, you took me to Applebee's and got me the quesadilla burger.
How do you think I got in your pants?
Well, that's another episode. Number 9, In-N-Out Burger.
That's a good one now.
You would think that's a good first date?
It's not fancy, but it's casual and it's, and
it's delicious.
I'm there for the In-N-Out.
Yeah. Number 8 would be Chili's.
Okay, that's kind of like Applebee's.
Yeah.
Chili's is better than Applebee's.
Ooh, hot take. The thing that bothers me about Chili's and Applebee's is they're so not unique.
Cookie cutter? Yeah, they're just... Yeah, I agree.
Number 7, Olive Garden.
Now, that has the same issue as like being a non-unique huge chain, but it's better than the other two.
Number 6, Buffalo Wild Wings.
Nope.
Yeah, no.
Bad idea.
I cannot pay attention in Buffalo Wild Wings to anything other than the 2,600 televisions vying for my attention. Absolutely not. You can't hear anything. I feel like a bug in his last moments before he hits the bug zapper in a Buffalo Wild Wings. I can't focus on anything.
Plus, I know Buster, and Dr. Buster ain't going to make it through a meal of those hot wings without struggling. So,
Yeah. Number 5, Texas Roadhouse.
okay. I don't know. I mean, they got the rolls. That's good.
Yeah, they got the rolls. Number 4,
Grab
cheesecake.
some of those Texas Roadhouse rolls before you grab her rolls. So what's that? Cheesecake at number 4?
Yep, Cheesecake Factory.
Okay. You got a good dessert, at least.
Good dessert.
You know, I
Tasty.
went to Cheesecake Factory a few years ago, and the thing that struck me most was their menu is fucking absurd. It's like 20 pages long, and they have food from every possible genre. They have Asian food,
Yeah.
they have Italian food, Mexican, they have burritos there. It's just wild. And cheesecake.
It should be called Decision Factory because you feel like you're at work.
Mm-hmm.
You got so much to consider.
Preach it.
Number 3 is Panera.
Not exciting, but it is a safe kind of coffee date-esque type place.
I agree. Number 2 kind of makes me laugh. Chipotle.
Now, that one I don't understand.
I'm not getting a big burrito on a first date.
No.
I'd get a bowl maybe.
Yeah, get a bowl. I don't know. It's fine. I guess if I'm pro In-N-Out, then I can't be anti-Chipotle.
I don't know. There's just something about the process of the ordering. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'd go In-N-Out burger over Chipotle. Number 1 may not be surprising based on everything we talked about today. Do you have a guess? A chain?
Arby's. Okay, I'm joking.
Because they have
Let me
the
give you a real
meats.
guess. What could be a real guess?
It's the first chain that would come to mind for one of these categories we talked about.
Starbucks?
Yep. Number 1 is Starbucks.
That's also the number 1 fast food chain, period, as far as revenue.
Coincidence? I think not.
I think not. It's all those first dates. Well, hell, bub. We did it.
We did. Those are the most successful types of first dates.
Have you actually gone back through the list? I don't think you have. Because we did the
I haven't. So
sub-list. Yeah.
let's do it again. Number 9, amusement park or carnival. See if you can win some mini games and possibly win the game of life. Number 8, sporting event. Will you cheer for a second date? Number 7, music fest or concert. Do you like to listen to the same type of music and can you stomach listening to them talk? Number
You can do
6,
this for every one of these damn things.
Yes.
Go ahead.
a walk on the beach. People say they love long walks on the beach. Put it to the test. Number 5, drinking a cup of coffee. Will you need to get a hot dog 10 minutes from the end of the date? We'll find out and see. Number 4, a movie. Are you seeing a slasher film or are you going to watch The Wolf of Wall Street where you end up seeing 25 sex scenes before the movie is over? Number 3, are you going to a bar to get in a drink and are you going to try not to get too drunk? Number 2, a romantic walk. Are you going to try to make it romantic without seeing something that's going to turn both of you off entirely? And number 1, are you going to sit down for a nice, possibly candle-lit dinner meal at some type of restaurant? Hopefully something that leads to a unique experience for the both of yous.
Beautifully said, Buster. Beautifully said. The truth is, obviously, all of these things have their pros and cons. So, I'm pro all of them. I'm pro love, Buster. As long as people are finding love and support
We're
for
pro
each
love.
other, then yeah, I'm pro love.
And if you have gone on an interesting first date, maybe in a category that wasn't listed here, or you've got some, an anecdotal fun story about a first date in one of these categories, let us know. Reach out.
How would they do that, Buster? How would they reach out?
To be on all the socials you can muster at Tinnish Pod.
There you go.
10ISH.
10ISHPOD on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Reddit, and TikTok. We're on all those. And you can also hit me up anytime at tennishpod@gmail.com. There's links for all this shit in the show notes. Buster, after listening to this episode, I'd like to go back in time and take you on another first date.
I appreciate that.
Where should I take you on a first date?
And what I will tell everyone is if the first date went well, You've already gone on that first date. And this is a person that you know you want to see again. All you have to do, my friends, is let them know that you listen to this show.
That's right.
And they will say yes to an infinite amount of subsequent dates.
An infinite amount subsequent dates. And it wouldn't hurt to keep that hot dog craving on the low down. Don't leave the date right at the end to go get that hot dog. Wait till after the date to get your hot dog.
And then if you want to know if they're more than just the person who's right for right now, and if they're the person for all time, you just ask them, are you a Tennis Pod patron?
Do you subscribe to Tennis Pod Plus?
And if the answer to that is yes, there you go.
You pass them a note like in high school and it just says Tennis Pod Plus member? ? Yes or no? And you circle the one. If they say no, then consider murdering them. Don't murder anybody. But
you tell them it's time to get a hot dog and you never come back.
Yeah, just to ghost them. By the way, you can sign up for Tennis Pod Plus at tennispod.com/plus. You can get next week's episode early before anyone else, and it will also be 100% ad-free. And we also release bonus episodes at least once a month, sometimes more. tennispod.com/plus.
It's actually Nick-free too. Anyone who pays for Tennis Pod Plus, we just edit out all of Nick's contributions, so you just get to hear the Sidekick host. It's so worth the money.
Wow. Yeah, I'll put that up on the feed, see how many listeners we retain, Buster, with that model. Jesus.
Be careful what you wish for. It might expand exponentially.
It might expand exponentially. This has been a great first date with you, listener. I hope we will have infinite subsequent dates, as Dr. Buster put it, on future episodes. Be back here next week. I'm Nick, he's Buster. Good luck on your next first date.
Bye.
Hi, human. Welcome to the God Pod. I'm God, and like Jesus, I'm hanging in there.
If you like interviews with the most interesting people alive or dead, then you'll love the God Pod.
Here's me talking to Mary Trump about her crazy uncle.
I knew he was going to be disastrous.
And here's me debating a real live atheist.
You really cannot make the case that this is a good book.
I discuss all the latest current events down on Earth.
Find the God Pod wherever you get podcasts.
The God Pod. Have it Yahweh.
If you had the right information, could you create a better life? I'm Chris Stemp, the host of Smart People Podcast, one of the best podcasts you've probably never heard of. My producer John and I started the podcast 12 years ago when we got burnout on corporate America and wanted to figure out a better way. We've asked top global experts, including Brene Brown, Simon Sinek, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and hundreds more, how to create a better life. With over 10 million downloads, this is one you don't want to miss. Subscribe and follow Smart People Podcast wherever you listen.